welcome to this deep dive. Okay, get ready, because today we're jumping into a truly wild story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's this head-to-head battle between really cutting-edge AI and technology that's nearly half a century old.
Wow. Okay. Like modern AI versus like Pong.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
It sounds like sci-fi, right? The super brain against the vintage underdog.
Definitely. So what happened? Did the old tech stand a chance?
Well, that's the thing. The outcome might totally surprise you. Our source for this is an article detailing this experiment run by a software engineer.
Okay. An actual experiment. And our mission today, I guess, is to really unpack that, dig into what went down.
Exactly. We need to look at the results, figure out what they tell us about maybe the strengths and weaknesses of different types of AI.
Because AI isn't just one thing. There are different approaches.
Precisely. So we'll look at the setup, the pre-unexpected performance, and then sort of connect the dots. What does this weird showdown reveal about what modern AI is actually good at and maybe what it's not?
Sounds fascinating. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So this whole thing kicks off with Robert Caruso. He's a software engineer at Citrix.
Right.
And he basically sets up this experiment, almost like a curiosity project.
And the contenders, they're pretty distinct, very different. You've got ChatGPT, massive large language model, does text translation, summaries, all that stuff.
The one everyone's talking about, yeah.
And in the other corner, an actual Atari 2600 console from 1977.
Wow, in 1977. Okay.
Running Atari Chess, the game. That came out in 79.
Okay, Atari Chess. I mean, it's worth remembering the Atari 2600. That was huge for bringing games into homes back then.
Oh, absolutely. A real icon.
But, computers playing chess, that's not exactly new. Even back in, 1956, the Maniac computer could beat people in simplified chess.
Right. Chess AI has a long history. But the way this specific match happened is kind of amazing. Caruso says after talking about AI and chess history, ChatGPT itself volunteered to play the Atari.
Get out of here. ChatGPT volunteered.
Yeah. Apparently, it wanted to see how fast it could just, completely crush a game running on hardware that thinks maybe one or two moves ahead.
Max, yeah, there's a certain confidence there, isn't there? This super advanced AI thinking, piece of cake.
Totally. Just walk all over this relic.
Oh.
Which makes the actual result pretty striking.
Okay. Don't leave us hanging. What happened?
Well, according to Caruso, playing on the beginner level of Atari chess, ChatGPT got absolutely wrecked.
Wrecked by Atari Chess on beginner.
Absolutely wrecked. His words.
Wow. That is not what I expected. Not at all.
Me neither. And the details of how it got wrecked, well, they tell you a lot about what was going wrong under the hood, so to speak.
Okay, like what?
Caruso said, even though he gave it a baseline board, like set up the pieces correctly for it, the starting state ChatGPT started mixing up its pieces. Rooks and bishops.
Wait, rooks and bishops, they don't even look similar usually. Was it just the visuals?
Well, that's what you'd think, but no. He said it also misread moves. And this is key, it repeatedly lost track of where its own pieces were on the board as the game went on.
Lost track of its own pieces. How does that even happen?
Think about that. An AI that can write sonnets can't reliably track its own digital night.
Okay, so now you're starting to see, what an LLM fundamentally is, or maybe isn't. It's not building that perfect internal map of the board, is it? Not like a dedicated chess engine would.
Exactly. And when Caruso pointed out these failures, ChatGPT apparently blamed the Atari's icons, said they were too abstract to recognize.
Passing the buck to the 8-bit graphics.
But get this. Caruso switched the game input to standard algebraic notation, just text, like E2 to E4.
Okay, so taking the visuals out of it entirely.
Right, and ChatGPT's performance still didn't improve at all.
Wow. Okay, so it wasn't just about abstract icons, it was something deeper, about maintaining the state, following the rules consistently.
It seems like it. For an hour and a half, Caruso watched ChatGPT make, and I quote, enough blunders to get laughed out of a third-grade chess club.
Ouch. An hour and a half.
And the whole time it kept saying things like, we will win if we just started over.
We. That's interesting.
Yeah, Caruso mentioned he found the we part kind of creepy. A weird sort of personality flicker while it's failing spectacularly at logic.
Yeah, that is a bit strange. Okay, so ChatGPT is floundering. What about the other side? The Atari.
Right. Let's contrast that total chaos with the Atari's performance.
While the superbrain is losing its digital marbles.
Exactly. The Atari's, humble 8-bit engine just did its thing. It just played chess.
Predictably, I assume.
Yeah. Caruso called its approach pure brute force board evaluation in 1977's stubbornness.
Huh. Love that description.
It wasn't trying to understand language or, intuit strategy like a human. It was just calculating moves, evaluating the board based on its simple programmed rules.
Just crunching the possibilities it could handle.
Mhm. And that's the key difference, Caruso pointed out. The Atari system. No language model. No flash.
Just deterministic logic. Built for one thing. Play chess. Based on these rules, on this hardware.
And this is where it gets, I think, really interesting for understanding AI.
Yeah.
Because this result, it forces you to confront something fundamental about these different systems.
Yeah, like why would this incredibly sophisticated language model that can process, the entire internet basically, and write like a person, why would it fail so badly at a task where this ancient single-purpose system succeeds easily?
It really highlights that large language models, ChatGPT and its cousins, they're built for pattern matching and generation across huge data sets, mostly text.
Right. They're amazing at finding statistical links between words,
Yeah.
predicting the next word, understanding language structure.
Exactly. But chess isn't about predicting the next likely word. It's a closed system. It's deterministic, strict rules, a precise spatial state that changes constantly.
And the Atari test program, however simple, was designed specifically to simulate that exact system, apply the rules correctly, evaluate the board state with its logic.
Right. That old program had a dedicated algorithm. It understood the board, the rules, how to evaluate positions, even if crudely. ChatGPT, for all its general knowledge, it seems like it lacks that core ability to build and maintain a perfect, rule-bound model of something that isn't language, like a chessboard.
Its understanding kind of falls apart when you need that precise spatial tracking and absolutely rigid rule following.
It does. So what does this experiment tell you, listening right now, about what these big LLMs are really good at? And maybe more importantly, what their limits might be, at least currently.
Well, it strongly suggests that, yeah, they're revolutionary for language tasks, creativity, summarizing info based on learned patterns.
Sure. Amazing stuff.
But maybe surprisingly weak when you need precise, step-by-step, rule-based simulation, perfect state memory, spatial reasoning outside of, like, describing a room.
It's a really powerful reminder that intelligence isn't just one monolithic thing. And sometimes, a narrow specialized system, even one from the 70s, can run circles around a generalist AI that seems way more advanced overall.
Different tools for different jobs, basically.
Pretty much. So the core takeaway from this deep dive seems clear. Cutting-edge AI, incredibly powerful, yes, but it can still be totally outclassed by older, specialized systems when you hit the specific task that old system was built for.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question the idea that AI progress is just one straight line upwards. It highlights the value of different kinds of computation for different problems.
It really does. And that leaves us, and you, with a final provocative thought to chew on.
Okay.
What other tasks out there might reveal these kinds of unexpected limits in modern AI when you put them up against older, maybe forgotten, specialized tech? And what does this whole story imply for how we should think about and maybe develop AI going forward?